again, Falcon's Media Corner, and welcome back to another movie review, aka For Us All. And today I'm going to be talking about the 2021 action horror comedy known as Willy's Wonderland. Now, Willy's Wonderland, this is directed by Kevin Lewis, and this basically tells the story of this quiet loner who's played by Nicolas Cage, which we don't know his name, but he's known as the janitor, which basically one day when his car breaks down, he meets up with this businessman who owns this family restaurant known as Willy's Wonderland. And basically what happens is he makes an offer with him by saying that this businessman will repair his car. And basically from that is that for the janitor, he gets offered to basically work in Willy's Wonderland by cleaning it up since it hasn't been used in years. And what he doesn't realize is actually a trick, because this businessman is actually scamming him and stuff. And what happens is the janitor basically starts to clean up the restaurant, and from what happens is basically these animatronics, which they're like mascots of sorts, basically they start to come alive, and they basically start to kind of like rampaging the restaurant, by doing some craziness and weird scary stuff that's happening in this movie. And basically we see the janitor basically kicking some animatronics ass, and basically see him trying to fight for survival. So that's pretty much the story of Willy's Wonderland. Now, for going into Willy's Wonderland, I didn't even know much about the whole concept of this movie, and I didn't see much of the trailers, I didn't see much advertisement except for the posters, which the posters for this film, I heard most people say this is kind of like a film adaptation of Five Nights at Freddy's, which I've never even played those games, and I know I had no desire to, but I don't know if I will or not. But and seeing that starred Nicolas Cage, I'm like, oh boy. Because, Nicolas Cage, he's just the man of he's just the king of freak outs. I just always love watching him. Every freak out he's in, it just always makes me entertained for whatever movie I see him, if it's either good or if it's even bad. And I started hearing a few people talking about this movie back in February, and I didn't get a chance to see it because I was a bit busy at the time. And so I watched this today at home on my Fire Stick, and this was actually a really fun movie. I actually quite enjoyed this one. It's not a perfect film because there are a little bit of issues I did have with the movie, particularly its premise, which didn't take its advantage really. It kind of felt a bit weak with some of the characters really. That for the writing of the characters really, some of them just felt a bit cliched and cheesy, because there were some teenage characters in the film, which some of them felt a bit cheesy of what they were saying, and their dialogues were pretty cheesy and cliched from what I can tell for what was really going on. Because there's this young girl who at first we see she's trying to go out with friends of sorts, who basically just love to burn some crap up, and basically she gets busted from the sheriff, and then she just doesn't like what for this girl, she basically doesn't like what the sheriff tells her what to do, until her friends end up busting around, and they end up going to Willy's Wonderland, where we do see Nicolas Cage starting to work, and then we see a bunch of craziness throughout the entire film, in which some of the for those kind of characters, they kind of didn't really interest me for what was going on. But there was some I kind of appreciate, but there was just a few that I just didn't really care about. It's not like they were awful or anything. It was just for what some of them were. It's just some of them I can usually see what they were doing, and they were either just cliche and cheesy, which didn't have me rolling my eyes or anything. I was just I knew it, because that was just what I'm mostly I'm not intentionally trying not to get frustrated. If it's anything that was really boring me out, I just usually try not to flip out so much. I'm just usually just kind of roll my eyes, or anything I just see that's either cliched or cheesy, anything that's good or anything bad. But the characterization of Nicolas Cage's character, the janitor, which again, for its premise, which I thought was a bit weak, it felt a bit shortened, and could have had a few more stuff into it. But however, for the characterization of Nicolas Cage's character, which again, it didn't really take much of its premise, which again I thought was a bit weak. I thought it was weak. It wasn't very weak. I just thought it was a bit weak, because for its premise, it did feel a bit shortened on the characterization of Nicolas Cage, because there really wasn't that much into it. We don't even know much about him at first, because we hear that he's a quiet loner, which he doesn't speak any much dialogue or speeches in this film. So this is kind of odd for Nicolas Cage, really odd for me seeing Nicolas Cage doing that. But for his characterization in this film, for what he does in the film, is pretty much like we see him either cleaning up, drinking soda, playing on the pinball, and then just kicking some animatronics ass. That's what he pretty much does in the film. It wasn't awful or anything. I still had entertainment for what he does in the film, mainly just kicking some animatronics ass. And for the animatronics in the film, the animatronics, the movements they do, they are really creepy, and the way they look, they do really creepy as well. And they really did. It just stands out very well from the animatronics movements, and like for these like mascots of sorts, which the way they look, they almost do look like of the Five Nights at Freddy's, which the designs of them, it's really creepy, but it is really creepy, but it does stand out as well for every kills in this film, which are extremely violent and bloody and really brutal, which it had me enjoying it while I was watching this movie. So overall, Willy's Wonderland, this was a fun movie. I had a really good time watching it, although there were just some minor issues I did have with it. Mainly its premise, which I thought was weak, and then some of the characters I thought was a bit cheesy and cliched, but still I had some enjoyment watching it, from the brutal, bloody kills that do happen in this movie, as well as Nicolas Cage's silent performance. And if you're a fan of Nicolas Cage, or if you're a fan of like movies that involve like creepy like mascots or sorts, this is definitely worth the one to see. So I'm going to give Willy's Wonderland a B. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching my review of Willy's Wonderland, and let me know what you think of this movie. Did you have a really fun time with it, or weren't you really a fan of it? So if you don't, that's perfectly fine by me. So thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next video. But before I go, I like to give a big sponsor of sorts, which I would like to basically sponsor for Grace Hutchings' upcoming quadrilogy that she's currently like making, called the Race Against Time movies, which she's currently making. So I'm looking forward to seeing what she's going to be doing, and hopefully there'll be a great enjoyment for me to watch, because I've heard what's going on, but I'm not going to say it because I don't want to spoil it for it. And I'll probably she'll probably announce it of sorts. I'm not entirely sure, but again, stay tuned. You might stay tuned for that, either on her channel or my channel. So just to let you guys know. So again, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, this has been Florence Media Corner signing off.